So the last two questions we have to take a look at are sort of applications involving volume here. So the first question here, which I've edited to match the one that you have on the page, is how many of the triangular prisms would it take to fill the cylinder? Now the key word when we see this is we're talking about filling up one of them. So we've got to imagine we're taking the triangular prism, we're filling up with water, we're pouring the water out of it into the cylinder. How many of these triangular prisms would it take to fill up that cylinder? Now the key thing about the word fill is, are we interested in the volume or the surface area of the prisms and the cylinder? You're definitely interested in the volume if we're talking about filling it up or how much water it's going to hold or its capacity or something like that. So the two numbers that we need from our previous questions are the volume of the cylinder and the volume of the triangular prism. So if we look back on the page, we know that our cylinder had a volume of, what did our cylinder have a volume of? 192.82 centimeters cubed. Sorry, meters cubed. And our triangular prism from the other side had a volume of, flip back to the other page here, the volume of that was 69.2 meters cubed. Now if we're talking about how many times this triangular prism goes into this cylinder, we want to divide the two of them. So we want to take our bigger one here, our cylinder, and we want to divide it by the smaller one, our prism. Okay? So this is how many times our prism goes into our cylinder here. So we do this division, and what do we get? We just punch this into our calculator. I get 2.86. So a question like this, it's not immediately clear from doing this calculation what this 2.86 means. So we put a little sentence at the end explaining what it means. This means that it would take 2.86 prisms to fill the cylinder. We want to make sure that that statement that we write at the end answers the question that was originally asked. So we asked how many prisms it takes to fill the cylinder. It takes 2.86 prisms to fill the cylinder. Next question here. A cylinder has a volume of 4,710 centimeters cubed. It has a height of 15 centimeters. Find the radius. Mine says find the radius in the surface area. I think we're just going to find the radius. So what information are we given in this question? We are given volume of 4,710, and we're given height of 15. So where we want to start is, if we're given the volume, we want the expression or the formula for the volume of, and the shape that we're working with is a cylinder. So volume of a cylinder is area of the base times height, so pi r squared times the height. From this formula, we want to start subbing in the information that we're given. So we're given the volume, 4,710. Let's sub that in for volume. We know pi is 3.14. We don't know what the radius is, so we'll leave that as r. We know that the height is 15. We want to, this is an equation that we want to solve for r. So I'm going to start by sort of multiplying the two numbers on the right-hand side. Keep the left-hand side the same. 3.14 times 15 gives me 47.1. So I've got 47.1 r squared on the right-hand side. If I want to solve for r, what am I going to do next? Cool. Not subtract. What operation is being done between the 47.1 and the r squared? Multiplication, so the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 47.1. So let's see. Well, we divide. We get 100 over here. We get r squared over here. And what's the last step to finding r here? We got r squared equals 100. How do we figure out what r is going to be? We're going to take the square root. Okay. So our radius is going to be 10. And then we go back up and we check what the units are going to be. We're working centimeters cubed centimeters, so our radius has to be 10 centimeters. And I'll put a box around it to show that that's the answer. And we are done.